Hey everyone, welcome. Second. All right, it's good. How are you today? Hey Meredith. See a few familiar faces, a few new ones. Isaac is an archer today. All right. It is just wonderful to see you all today. I hope you all had a great summer. Anybody do anything fun? Go anywhere new? All right. So hold on just 1 second here. All right, great.
Okay.
Good. So make sure that you have your name on the bottom below your face so that I know that you are who you say you are. All right. There we go. All right. Hold on just 1 second. All right. Aisha, is that the correct pronunciation of your name, Aisha?
Yeah.
Okay, we need to change your name. So do you know how to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and change your name there. All right, I'm looking here to see. So I think everybody's name's Jasmine. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
Okay. Maisie. Kessel, is it Kessel? Am I saying? Can you say it again? Sorry, you're muted. We're not hearing you.
So yeah, the microphone. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, there you go. Now we hear you. So tell me how you pronounce your name.
It's Kesil.
Casil. All right. I'm going to do my best to get everybody's names. It'll take me a couple of times to identify names and faces. If I pronounce any of your names incorrectly, let me know, because sometimes, I just don't get it right the first time. So terrific. All right. Wonderful. Anybody have any questions before we get started? I usually start class right away on the hour, giving just a minute or two for any questions that you might have. Of course, if you have questions, you don't have to wait until live class. You can always send them to me in the middle of the week and I'll answer as quickly as I can. So my name is Dr. Joseph. You can call me Dr. Joseph or Dr. J, whatever's easiest for you. And I like to hear from students, so don't ever hesitate if you have any questions. So this is Earth Science. We're going to be learning about the planet that we live on. It's pretty cool to be digging in deep to below the surface of the Earth and then going out into space. So tell me what you see. Take a look at that picture there. Hopefully everybody can see that. Welcome to Earth Science. Give me an idea what you see. Yeah, raise your hands. Maisie.
I see Earth and the stars.
Yep. You see Earth and a bunch of stars around it. What else? JR. Didn't hear you. Get closer to your microphone.
The sun.
The sun. Yeah, you can see the sun kind of peeking around the corner there. Yeah. What else? Henry.
You can see the storm, kind of the storms, like the hurricane.
Yeah, we
Then
went
near
with hurricane
Florida.
going. Everybody see that? Where he's looking this circular storm right here. We'll talk about the hurricanes that affect Earth when we get to talking about water on the Earth. Jasmine.
The stars.
Yep, you definitely see a lot of stars. You have to go somewhere pretty dark on Earth in order to be able to see that many stars, but there are a lot. What else? Aisha.
You can see North America and South America.
Yes, definitely can see there's North America up here, Central America, South America. Yep. So we definitely can see some landforms. Isaac?
Question. Is this a picture from a satellite or drawn? A
This
computer?
is, I don't know for sure. I think this is a picture from a satellite.
Okay. I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also
So
see
it's-
the oceans.
You can see the oceans. Yeah. In fact, our planet is mostly ocean. So we can see the landforms as well as the ocean. And what are all these white things right here? Drake.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very large cloud formations. So we can see a lot. You know, that was a lot from just a still picture of the Earth. It's pretty cool, all the things that work together, all the parts of our Earth and atmosphere that work together to give us a planet that is just perfect for people to live on. And we will learn all about that this year. So let me cover a couple of bits of information that you need to know first before we can start talking about Earth science. One of the most important ones is if you are new to Canvas. If you're new to AIM Academy or you haven't used Canvas before, make sure that you watch the video tutorial that I put in the course resources. So when you're looking at the homepage, you'll see right here, there is a classroom resources link. If you click on that, it'll open a page that looks like this. And right here at the top is how to navigate in Canvas. So if you don't know how to make Canvas work, make sure that you watch that, especially if you are a new student. I'll go over this all real quickly. Work your way down the assignment list. Don't skip anything. The lessons build on each other, so you need to make sure that you're working your way down. Please use good spelling and grammar in your assignments. Not here. When we're chatting in the text box here, you don't have to use good spelling and grammar. You can use text speed. Even when you're sending me a text message like through Canvas inbox, you can use text speed. When you're submitting an assignment for grading though, I want good spelling and grammar. And I'll talk to you about what that means as we get farther into the course. Right now, I don't take off any points for any spelling or grammar errors. And I'll tell you when that time will come. But get in practice doing it now. Make sure you click the button that says to submit the quiz. If you don't, you do your quizzes and you get to the end and you don't click that submit button, it doesn't save your work. So you'll lose your work that you've done. And always contact me if you have any questions or concerns. Please contact me before you submit a quiz or before you submit one of your tests. Because once you've submitted it, then it already graded and the computer gives you the right answers. I can't help a lot. I can explain, but I can't give you the points. So if you contact me first, then I can help you. Thank you for having your webcams on. It is AIM Academy's policy that you have to at least start the class with your webcam on unless your parent has written to tell me that you won't be leaving your camera on for some reason. If you're sick or if you are eating a meal or something, you could turn it off temporarily if you want to. I think it's a really good idea to leave your camera on all the time because that's how we get to know each other. We get to become familiar with each other. I get to know you a lot better if I see you and you interact with me than if you don't. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about AI. AI is artificial intelligence. That's what the A and the I stand for. And it's everywhere on computers, anywhere that has a computer. Most computer programs now, most websites that you go to are going to have some kind of AI component that is linked with them. Now, AI is, you can think of it as a really smart friend who's sitting right next to you, who knows everything about everything, but sometimes gets things wrong. Every so often, you'll ask AI a question, they'll give you the wrong answer completely. I've had that happen a couple of times. So you want to be kind of careful. You have to be over the age of 13 in order to be able to use AI at all. If you're between 13 and 18, you have to have parental permission in order to be able to use it. So what we want to be able to do is use AI for learning, but not use it to cheat. You don't want to ask AI to give you the answers to the questions because it's important that you learn not just how to copy and paste. I already know that you know how to do that. I need to know that you know how to answer the questions, how to find the answers on your own. Now, I get to know you, I get to know your writing style, and I can usually tell when students submit answers that are not in their writing style. If I think that's happening, I'll contact you. I'll say, are you, did you get this off the internet? Did you copy it from a website? Did you get it from AI? I just want you not to do that. I want you to work with integrity, work being honest so that your word means something. That's an important thing as you continue to grow. Isaac.
But as like last year, are you allowed to use AI to help answer your questions to help you get the questions right?
You're allowed to use AI. You're encouraged. If your parents give you permission, if you're over 13 and you have your parents' permission to do so, you can use AI to help you to understand something. Like if one of the questions is, let's see, one of the questions is, tell me the difference between the core and the mantle of the earth. And you're thinking, I don't know what the word mantle means. You can use AI to say, what is mantle? And it'll help you to understand that. But then you can't copy. Basically, here's the thing. If you use Control-C and Control-V, copy and paste, that's cheating. If you're typing your answers on your own, out of your own head, it's not. So we want to make sure that you're using it to help you learn, but not using it to avoid doing the work yourself. Toward that end, AIM Academy has a program this year that will help to detect the use of AI and help to detect plagiarism. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in a couple of weeks, but basically it is called Plagiarism Check, and it helps you know what is okay to use and what's not. So every time there's a written assignment, I'll get to you in a second here, Maisie. Every time there's a written assignment, you'll have 2 chances to get it done. The first time when you submit it, you get a report back from plagiarismcheck.org, and it will tell you whether or not there's anything copied and pasted in your assignment. It also tells me. You have a chance then to correct that, to redo it on your own before you submit it to me for grading. Now, this is a brand new program. We've only had it for a couple of weeks. We haven't used it yet. So we're all going to have to learn together how to use this program. As I said, I'll give you more information as time goes on. Maisie.
What if you are like in 13? Like you are the number 13.
13 to 18, if you have your parents' permission, you're
Okay.
allowed to use it. Yep, good question. Isaac.
Is for the plagiarism check, is that why on the modules page it's like the quiz is under the lesson? That's submitting to you.
No, that's different from last year, the course that you took with me last year, Isaac. So
Is that why that's there? Because of the plagiarism check?
no, that's not why it's there. It's there because for this course, I used what's called new quizzes. There are a few more features in new quizzes, and new quizzes have to be separate from the lesson. That's
So
just the way that's the way it has to do.
Okay, so it's
You
like
can always go back though. You can always go back into the lesson to help you to find some answers. Yeah,
Okay,
in fact, I'll talk about that in a second. All the quizzes and tests in my classes are open book and open note. So you can always go back and find answers to questions that you don't know the correct answer to.
Also,
So,
plagiarism,
sorry, go ahead. What?
for plagiarism check, it's checking for internet. So what if you accidentally type something exactly like a site does it? Will it tell you you plagiarized?
Yeah, it will. But there is an opportunity for you to challenge its answer. And I will, if it says that there's plagiarism, I will look at it. I'm always doing the grading anyway. So I'll look at it and I'll say, okay, Isaac, it's saying that this was plagiarized. You tell me why it's not. And you'll say, it is my work. It just sounds similar. Like that question that I gave you, what's the difference between the core and the mantle? Well, there's only so many ways to say that, right?
Yeah.
So odds are pretty good that somebody somewhere said it exactly the way you did, and it might be flagged. But my job here, my goal is not to trick you and catch you. I want to help you. So give you every opportunity to explain why you think that your answer is fine.
Yeah, give it a year and it'll actually be able to tell you. It'll actually be able to tell if you use Control-C.
Probably will. Yeah.
Or it'll ban Control-C.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, my goal, like I said, is to help you guys to know what works and what doesn't. I want to help you to learn. AI doesn't help you to learn, but plagiarismcheck.org will. It'll help you to know whether or not you're doing something that might get you. If you plagiarize in college, it'll get you thrown out of college. If you plagiarize in a job, you'll be fired from your job. And every couple months in the news, there's a story about somebody who got fired because they plagiarized someone else. So you want to just make sure that all the thoughts on paper are ones that came out of your head and not copied and pasted from a website. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys to help me. Isaac was the star last year, helping me to find errors in the life science class. I'm counting on all you guys to do the same. If you find typos, if you find any grammar or spelling errors, if you find something that doesn't make sense to you, please let me know so that I can correct it. I really appreciate it when you do that, because odds are good that if you find it, then you know somebody else might not understand it either. Isaac.
So is there a way that you can like put a note in the lesson so you don't have to like send a Canvas inbox message?
No, unfortunately, there's not. The way you have to contact me is through Canvas inbox. Yeah.
I wish they could change that.
Yeah. Well, make it, that would be like a Wikipedia page where everybody could make changes, and some people might make changes that weren't accurate.
I don't
So,
want to, no, not making changes, but giving suggestions.
giving suggestions.
Like it's
Yeah.
just like it just shows up on your page and say, hey, there's a comment here.
Yeah.
Like in Google Docs.
Unfortunately, at this point, there is not. That is a good idea.
But yeah, is it in Google Docs? You can put someone as viewer.
Yeah. Like as
and
a
they can, like,
comment.
yeah, and that would just be helpful. It'd be
Yeah.
much faster.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So you will notice when you look at the assignments that there are due dates. There are written assignments, things that you read and do a quiz every day that we don't have a live class. So we have our live classes on either Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll talk about that in just a second. This is the Tuesday section. And so for you guys, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you have written work that's due. I say written work, meaning something to do online. Now, I think that it's important to try to stay to those due dates, but I'm very flexible with the due dates. So I like you to stay with them, but I don't punish you if you don't. I don't ever take off points for things submitted past the due date. Now, that said, it's important that you stay with the due dates. So why don't I take off any points? Why do I give you an opportunity to be late? Well, I know what it's like to homeschool. I know what it's like to have a life. You know, sometimes things come up and you just can't get an assignment done on a given day. And I would rather have you take your time, turn something in a day or two after the due date rather than rush through it in order to just get it done. So that's why I don't take off points. However, the reason that it's important to try to stay with the due dates, there are a couple reasons. The first and probably most important one is that these live classes will relate to the things that you're studying in the written assignments, in the things that you read from your book. So when we're talking about the layers of the earth, you'll be reading about it in your book, and we'll talk about it in the live class as well. Or we'll have a case study, or we'll have some kind of a game, or there'll be something that relates, and it'll mean a lot more to you if you are caught up, if you stay with the due dates. It's also important because if you fall too far behind, that can be really frustrating. You get real stressed out if you look and you say, oh no, I'm a week behind schedule. What am I going to do? So staying with the due dates helps you to avoid that. So to encourage you to turn things in by the due date, I give extra credit for things that are turned in by the due date. At the end of each semester, the end of our course, I'll go back and I'll look to see how many assignments you turned in by the due date. And I give you 1/4 of an extra credit point for each of those. So it's worth it, right? It could end up being a lot of points. There are 4 points a week, and we have 16 weeks in the school year. So you could get 16 extra points added to your grade just by turning things in on time. All right, it's definitely worth it. I do also count attendance in the live classes, and I bump your grade up a little bit if you are here. If you are here, you get a little bit of a bump. If you participate, you get even more of a bump. So that's a good thing too. Come to class and ask questions, answer questions, participate as you can. If you have to come late to class or you have to leave early from class, just do so very quietly. Just leave. Don't announce yourself. Don't say, hey, everybody, I have to leave. Just come and go as you need to. We will use polls from time to time in our class in order to, get a little bit of class participation. So I want to do a poll right now just to practice. Let me pull one of these up. This just gives you a practicing. So what would you rather do? You should be able to see that there now. Whenever there's a poll, it's completely anonymous. Nobody knows what you choose. I would rather visit the bottom of the ocean, the center of the earth, another planet, or another solar system. Now, just to visit, not live there, just to visit.
Could you actually do things there, like explore it?
Could you what?
Get to explore it or just see it?
Yeah, no, you can explore for a bit. All right, one more answer. All right, excellent. Now I can show you the results and you can see here, nobody wants to go to the center of the earth. We have a pretty close to even 4, 4, and 6 for the other 3. So that's how you use a poll. All right. Now let's move on from there. Okay, anybody have any questions about the sort of the business end of things? Maisie.
Will we do this like this poll on each class or like a few classes?
Just a few times, just
Okay.
once in a while. Yep, just once in a while. All right, so in the announcement that I sent you, hopefully you guys got the announcement. So when I say announcement, what I mean is when you are in Canvas, when you log into Canvas and you go into our class and you, hold on here. Okay, something's not working. Let me try this again. All right, sorry, my computer froze here just for a second. All right, so here's what the course looks like when you go in. So when you go in here and you look here where it says announcements, there will be a little number right there when there's a new announcement. Click on that and it'll take you to any announcements that I've sent. Like I sent one out this morning saying Earth Science live class reminder. And right in that lesson, it says here, important, remember, please bring something round to class today. It can be anything flat or 3D as long as it is round. All right. If you did not also get this message to your email, or if your parents didn't get it to their email, it means you haven't verified your email address. And there is a link that tells you how to do that. It says important. It's at the very top of the assignments page right here. Please watch this video to confirm your email address. Make sure you do that because that's how I communicate with you to tell you what you need to bring to class and to remind you that we do have a live class on that day. Okay, so speaking of which, we do have 2 sections in, no, I'm sorry, we don't. We have 1 section in Earth Science. This is it. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Okay, so I did ask you to bring something round. Anybody have their round object? Yep, there you go. Oh, look at the little cute one Maisie has. Excellent, excellent. All right, perfect, perfect. A plate, I see a, JR, is that like a, what is that? Is that a light?
It's a lamp.
A lamp, cool. That's pretty
You
cool.
plug it in and it just shows stars.
Oh, wow, look at that.
It
That's
also,
beautiful.
you plug something in to show some Bible verses.
That's great. Wonderful. All right, so we all have our round object. Now, there are some characteristics of this round object, either the flat one or the, a round one like a ball, sphere. There's some characteristics of this that can be observed and measured, and there are some that cannot. So let's come up with some characteristics of your round object that you can observe directly. That means you're using your senses in order to observe it. Somebody name something. Henry.
Circumference.
Yep, we can observe the circumference. That's the distance around from one point, like from the top all the way around. Yep. What else? What else can you observe? Meredith.
Like the color and like the shape.
Yep, you can observe the color, the shape, the size. Some of them are small, some of them are large. Some are in between. Drake.
The texture.
Texture, right. Mine's kind of bumpy and rough. Some of yours look like they're smooth. Maisie.
How how long are they?
Yep,
And
yep, definite size. Yep. So what are some things that you cannot observe? Isaac.
Well, for like this thing, you can't perfectly observe the width,
The what?
the diameter. 'Cause
Why
you
can't you?
Well, not you really can, but you can't perfectly. You have to stick something through it, the center,
Right,
to get it perfectly.
right. Yep, yep,
But with like a plate, you can't.
yeah. All right, that makes sense. So I can't really observe what's on the inside of this. There's something deep inside there, and I can't really see that. I can't see it. I can't smell it. I can't hear it. There is something inside there, but I don't know what it is. I can't observe it. I can't observe what it's made of. You know, I don't know what the material is that this is made of, so I can't observe that. So some things I can observe. Some things I either need a tool in order to be able to observe, or I can't observe it at all. Anybody have any other things that you think you can observe or not observe about yours? Now compare what you observed about the ball or didn't observe about your round object to the earth. What about the earth? What can we observe and measure about Earth? Landforms, yeah, we can measure and observe landforms. Maisie.
sea levels.
We can measure and observe the sea and the level of the water in the sea. Excellent. What else? Kaylin.
The animals and living organisms.
Yeah, good. Drake said the same thing, the creatures that live there. So we can observe the living things on our planet. Some of them are microscopic. We would need a microscope to be able to observe them. Henry.
The temperature.
Temperature. Yeah, you can feel temperature differences. We can also use tools to measure the temperature. Excellent. You guys are coming up with some good ones. Kaylin.
Like the weather.
Yep, we can observe weather patterns and weather activity. Aisha.
The sea.
Yep, we can see the sea. We can observe that. We can measure it. But there's a lot going on below the surface of the earth that we can't measure, that we can't observe. Just like inside our round thing that we had, there are things that we need tools. Like, how do we know what the core of the earth is? We can't go down there. It's too hot and there's too much pressure. But we have ways that we can know what's deep inside. Those are some of the things that we're going to talk about as we go through this school year. So we're going to learn about matter this week. In your reading, you're going to learn about matter. And in science, matter matters. What do I mean when I use the word matter? What is matter? Isaac.
Matter is the physical form of, well, it's the basis of everything.
Yeah, you got it. It's basically
You
the
can also,
basics of everything.
and you cannot
Matters-
create matter.
Matter is what things are made of.
You can only change form, right?
Yes, yes, it is what things are made of, and it can change form. Yes. So here's a couple of little cartoons for you. I like to in some of my live classes, not all of them, but in most of them, we'll have some either cartoons or little jokes or some riddles, things like that. I don't promise that they're any good, but they're there. They'll be part of class. So when you ask a science teacher, what's the matter? What does she say? Meredith?
Everything.
Everything. Yeah, everything is the matter. You got it. All right.
I know some of them because I listened to your class with my brother.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have a jump start. So you have mass, you have volume, you matter. Yeah, I like that one. This is called Chemistry Cat, and Chemistry Cat memes are so cute. They're so fun. I'll bring some Chemistry Cat in. All right, so an optimist is a person who looks on the bright side of things. An optimist will look outside and it's raining and say, oh, yay, the flowers are going to get some water. A pessimist looks outside and goes, oh, darn, it's raining again. So an optimist sees this glass as being half full. A pessimist sees the glass being half empty. But a scientist says the glass is completely full, half in the liquid state and half in the vapor state. Technically, the glass is always full. It's just full of something different. All right, and the last one here. Why can't you trust atoms?
Because they make everything.
Yeah, because they make up everything. All right, yes, you do have this to look forward to most weeks. I try to have some kind of riddles or cute cartoons in most of the classes. If you find a good earth science joke or riddle that you like, send it to me, and I might just put it in one of the live classes. All right, let's talk about what we already know about what we're going to be studying this year. You probably know a lot more than you think you do. What do you think of when you hear the term earth science? Kaylin?
I think of like Earth and its landforms and stuff.
Earth and landforms, excellent. Aisha?
The earth, like I think of the earth, the oceans, and the land.
Okay. Jasmine?
I think of like the earthquakes and oceans and land.
Yeah, Earth looks like it's just standing still, doesn't it? But there's a lot going on, like those things that you mentioned. Henry?
Geology.
Geology, yep. Helena?
I basically think of the picture you showed earlier in class.
Yep, that's what you think of. Let me pull that picture back up. This one? Yeah. Yeah. So that's earth science is the study of that thing. Basically, that's what earth science is. When we use the term earth science, what we mean is the study of the earth. Amazing. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. What?
I think about the creatures.
Yep. Ballet?
I kind of just think about like the mechanics of the inside, like the tectonic plates stuff. It's really interesting to me.
It is. It is. What Valet is referring to, we'll learn about, is that the Earth is basically a ball of molten liquid with these plates of rock and land sitting on top of it that interlock with one another and move a little bit. And that's what gives us some of the nature events that we have, like earthquakes and volcanoes. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll get to those. So earth science is the study of the earth and the physical processes that happen on the earth. And there are a couple of different disciplines that go into earth science. Somebody said geology. I forget who that was. Sorry. But geology is one of them. What does that mean? Henry, was it you? What do we mean when we say geology?
Like rocks. the that's what I think of.
Yeah, you're right.
Minerals.
Yep, rocks and minerals primarily. So geology is the solid earth, the solid parts of the earth, including the rocks and the minerals and the things that shape the earth over time. Those tectonic plates that that Valley was talking about, those are included in geology. Earthquakes, volcanoes, those are things that would be included in geology. Here's another term that is associated with earth science, meteorology. Anybody know what that word means? Kaylin.
It's the study of like weather.
Yep. The study of the atmosphere, the pocket of air that's around the outside of the earth, and the weather patterns that happen there. So what do we call a scientist who studies meteorology? Go ahead, Kaylin.
A meteorologist.
Yeah, meteorologists, they analyze the data from the weather in order to tell us what the weather is going to be like in the future. Like if you're going to have a picnic tomorrow, you know whether you want to know whether it's going to rain or snow or be bright and sunny. A meteorologist will help you with that. All right, what about this one? Oceanography. What does that mean? Aisha.
Like the study of the oceans?
Yep, it is the study of the oceans of the world, the physical nature of the oceans, the chemical nature of the oceans, because oceans are more than just plain water. There's other things in the ocean besides just water. The biological components of the ocean. What does that mean? What are biological components of an ocean? Anybody know what biology means? Sophie.
The study of life.
Yeah, bio means life. So biology is the study of life. So the biological components of the ocean would be the animals that live there, the microorganisms that live there, the plants that are in the oceans, the protists that are in the oceans. Yep. Yes. Somebody says here chemical levels. Yes, there are a lot of different chemicals that are in ocean water, and we study those as part of earth science. So we can talk about the currents that are in the ocean, the marine ecosystems that are in the ocean, and the interaction between, think about this, the interaction between the oceans and the atmosphere. How does an ocean interact with the atmosphere? How does an ocean interact with the air above it? Anybody ever heard the word evaporate? Yeah, that's how we get water up into the atmosphere in the first place.
Makes
It
it colder, right?
evaporates. Sorry, what?
The ocean also makes wind. The ocean also is part of the process of creating wind.
Yep. Oceans participate in the water heating up. I'm sorry, the sun heating up the water helps to create wind. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways that oceanography plays a role in our day-to-day life, and we'll study those. We'll learn about those. Henry says, what about the litter? Yep, unfortunately, we have a problem with pollution in some of our oceans. So oceanography covers and talks about ways that we can improve the quality of the water that is in our oceans. And then, of course, we don't just stay on the earth in this class. The first half of the year, we go deep into the center of the earth. The second half, we leave Earth altogether and we go into what's called astronomy. What's that mean? What is astronomy? Maisie.
Study of the space.
Study of
Stars.
space, yeah. It's pretty broad in scope, really. It's Earth's place in our solar system and our solar system's place in the universe. So astronomy talks about the way Earth is related to the sun, the way it's related to the moon, the way it's related to the other planets, and then the other galaxies and the other parts of the universe that Earth has to interact with as it exists out there. All right, excellent. And one more here. How many terms can you list that relate to hydrology? What does hydrology mean? What do you think that means? Jasmine.
Like the study of water.
Yeah, hydro means water. So hydrology would be the study of water, but it isn't the water in the oceans exactly. It includes the oceans, but when we say hydrology, we more mean like rivers and lakes and groundwater and the water cycle as water goes up into the atmosphere and then rains back down. So basically, it's the movement of water on the earth and how it's distributed around. And we'll spend some time talking about hydrology as well as we go through this earth science course. All right, so in a word, we're going to study about matter this year. We're going to study about what everything is made of. We have to remember that matter is what everything is made up of, including the rocks, the minerals, the oxygen, the water, the carbon dioxide that's in the air, the crust of the earth, the soil, the plants, the animals that live on it. Everything is made up of matter. We're going to learn a lot about matter as we go through our course this year. So this is a picture of a molecule. This is a kind of a sugar that's called glucose. So glucose is part of the sugar that you sprinkle in your tea. If you have, you want to sweeten your tea. Glucose and another sugar called fructose together make up that sugar that's in your sugar bowl. So this is glucose. It's made up of 3 different kinds of atoms. Tell me the 3 kinds that you see there. Aisha.
Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen.
Yep, exactly. So how many carbon atoms are there in one glucose molecule? Drake.
6 of them.
6 of them. How many hydrogen? Kaylin.
12.
12. And how many oxygen? Drake.
6 of them.
6, exactly. So we have 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, and 6 oxygen. Every time I want to write down a molecule, I don't want to have to draw all this out. So we have a shorthand way of referring to molecules. Remember what a molecule is. If you haven't heard that term before, a molecule is a particle of matter that's made up of different atoms. Each of these individual little circles here represents an atom. So a molecule isn't flat like it looks in the picture. It's actually 3D like this. So I have one. Where did I put my molecule? Anybody see it? I had it right here. Oh, here it is. Put it right behind me. So this is a model of a glucose molecule. This is what it looks like. And each of those circles represents an atom. And it makes a ring shape. See that ring right there, that circle? The black ones make a circle with one sticking out. So those are the carbons. So to keep from having to draw this complicated 3D molecule, we abbreviate this molecule, this glucose molecule, C6H12O6. That tells us we have 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens. Now, in this picture and in this model, the atoms are represented by balls. The atoms are the smallest bit of matter you can get. They're as tiny as you can get and still be matter, but they're not really round like this. If we could get really, really small and be able to still see them, they would look like this. It would look like an atom. This is what an atom looks like. Maisie, you had your hand up?
Before you switch the page, the circle looked like a hexagon.
Right here?
Yeah, it looks
Yep.
like a hexagon.
Yep, it does. It does look like a hexagon. Yeah, yep. So everything in the universe behaves the way it does because everything in the universe is made up of atoms. Atoms have 3 parts to them. What are they? What are the 3 parts that we find in any atom? Helena.
Electrons, neutrons, and protons.
Yes, the neutrons and the protons are on the inside right here, and they're called the nucleus. Circling around the outside in a really cool structure, we have electrons. And it's the behavior of the electrons that makes one thing different from another. So take a look at something on your desk that's made of plastic, and then take a look at the water. They behave the way they do because of the electrons that are in the atoms that make them up. That's what makes everything a little bit different. For the most part, it's only those electrons that interact with the electrons of other atoms that make things behave the way they do. Now, we'll go into some detail of that later, but as you're reading things in Unit 1 about matter, keep this picture in mind. All matter is made up of these atoms. And all the different atoms that are in the universe, they're only different from one another by the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons they have. So take a look at this atom. Somebody just climbed up on my lap because she wants to say hello. So I'm going to let her say hello to you guys. This is my little dog, Maya. Say hi.
Is she Japanese or
She
Maltese?
likes to come to class once in a while. So
Is she a Maltese?
No, she is a Khitan. They're related to the Maltese. Her breed is Khitan de Tuliar. They're from Madagascar. Pretty exotic. I didn't go to Madagascar to get her, though. That would have been fun. All right, so let's take a look at this atom. This atom has 8 protons, 8 neutrons, and 8 electrons. You don't have to count them, but if we could, that's what we would see. This atom is the element called oxygen. It's what we breathe in. Now, it looks in this picture like the nucleus here with the protons and neutrons is very close to the electrons. In reality, though, it's not. So remember that all of this is really, really tiny. If we could magnify just an atom that had only 1 proton in it, hydrogen, if we could magnify it so that its 1 proton was the size of a basketball, its electron would be 2 miles away. Okay, so if we took this and we made it bigger, 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 so that the nucleus was the size of a basketball, its electrons would be miles away. All the space in between the electrons and the basketball-sized nucleus right there is empty. Empty space. Now I want you to do something. Take your hands and clap your hands together. Now, your hand is made of atoms, right? Everything is made of atoms. Atoms are mostly empty space. So why doesn't one hand just go right through the other? If it's mostly empty space, why do your hands stop when they hit each other and not just pass? You know, I run my hand through empty space here. Why doesn't it go through that way? Drake.
All the atoms are so tightly packed together that there's no space in between the nucleus and
No, that's a good guess, but they're not packed tightly together. There is mostly empty space in all of the atoms. You can't make the electrons get closer to the nucleus. They're a certain distance and they stay that certain distance away. That was a really good thought. Anybody else have any idea why? Why am I not falling right through my chair right now? It's mostly empty space. The electrons, the atoms that make up my body and the atoms that make up my chair are mostly empty space. Why don't I just fall right on through to the center of the earth? Because they're so tiny? That's a good guess too. Kaylin.
Because they repel each other?
They do. They repel each other. So if you've ever taken a balloon and rubbed the balloon on your hair and then stuck it onto the wall, that's called attracting. Those electrons pick up negative charge. The negatively charged electrons change places. So you have positive and negative, and those attract each other. But electrons all have negative charges. So they repel one another. So the negative charges in the electrons on this hand repel, actually push against the electrons in the other hand. They're all negative, and so they repel one another. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So think of the negative poles of magnets. If you try to stick 2 magnets together, one way they'll go together and the other way they push against one another. So the electrons of one item, one object, repel the electrons in another one. Now here you can see right there. if we were to magnify a hydrogen atom so that it was the size of a basketball, the electrons would be 2 miles away. All right, hold on here just a second. So we have 5 more minutes in class. That's my reminder. All right, so give me an example of something that would be called matter. Anything. Kaylin.
My dog Cody.
Yeah, dogs are definitely matter. Maisie?
My dog Piper and Emmett.
Yep. Drake?
My water bottle.
Your water bottle. Henry?
Fire, water, ice.
So fire's tricky. Water and ice for sure are considered matter. Fire's a little bit tricky because the fire itself, the actual flame itself is energy, but it's burning matter and it's releasing matter. So if something isn't matter, it's energy. If something isn't energy, it's matter. Energy's different, and we will talk about energy as we get into a little bit later into the course. Fire burns matter, right? You have to have fuel in order for a fire to burn. There has to be wood or gas or something that's burning. And then it puts ash up into the air and particles, carbon dioxide, up into the air to lay down. So yes, fire is something that burns matter. Yep. Jasmine.
The computer that I'm watching on right now.
Absolutely. JR.
The floor.
The floor. Meredith.
Me.
Yeah, you. I will take one more. Aisha.
Science books.
Science books. There's almost nothing that you could name. Anything that you can touch, basically, that has particles is going to be matter. So there are forms of matter. Matter comes in 4 different states in our universe. Anybody know what those 4 different ways that you can find matter? Think of water. That's a good way to kind of think of it. Water comes in 3 different phases. Drake.
A solid, a liquid, and a gas.
A solid, a liquid, and a gas. So for the most part on Earth, matter exists in those 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. There's actually a 4th phase of matter that is really, really common in the rest of the universe, but not so common on Earth. Anybody know what that is? Elena?
Plasma.
Plasma, yeah. We will talk a little bit about plasma, but stars are made of plasma. That's why there's so much plasma in the rest of the universe. But on Earth, for our purposes, we're going to talk about 3 states of matter. Those 3 states are solid, liquid, and gas. So you can see here, these are solids, here are some liquids, and here are some gases. And whether matter is found in solid, liquid, and gas depends on the temperature. The warmer something is, the faster the particles move. So I've got this, this ball again that I brought, and the particles that are in this, even when it's holding completely still, those particles are moving just a little bit. This is solid, so they're moving very slowly. They're basically just vibrating. If I warm this up to the point that it starts to melt, then it becomes a liquid. If I keep heating it to the point that it vaporizes, then it becomes a gas. It all has to do with temperature. Now, these phase changes are really important as we study the Earth. We're going to learn that our water cycle depends on water changing from solid to liquid to gas and then back again. The rock cycle depends on phase changes going from solid to liquid to back to solid, back to liquid. The rock cycle is responsible for a lot of the changes that happen on and below the surface of our Earth. And with that, we are out of time for today. Henry, take one question.
How do you turn something into a plasma?
It takes special, like real special equipment in order to do that. If you want to know, do you want to know about plasma? You want me to talk about plasma next week? Does that interest anybody? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll talk about plasma. We'll talk about plasma a little bit next week. Yeah, it's not found naturally on the earth. It takes special equipment in a lab in order to generate plasma, but I'll talk about it next week. All right, guys, this was great. It's wonderful meeting
Isn't the
you.
core of the Earth plasma then? It's like
No.
a star. Okay, what is the core of the Earth made of?
What is what?
The core of the Earth.
The core of the earth is molten. Well, the core of the earth has two layers. There's an inner core and an outer core. The inner core is solid iron, like solid rock, solid metal. Yeah, we'll talk about it. That's one of the things we'll learn about in the next couple of weeks. Keep the questions coming. All right, everybody, it was great to see you. Nice to meet those of you who are new. Nice to see those of you who are returning. And I look forward to our course, and I will see you next Tuesday.
All right, thank you.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.